wind howled like knives over the snow-covered mountain peaks. The sky had darkened suddenly, signaling an unexpected and dangerous storm. Along a narrow trail, 3 children on a school field trip had strayed from the main group. As the blizzard grew, they became lost, frightened and trapped in treacherous icy terrain. In the village at the base of the mountain, the rescue bell rang with urgency. Among the volunteers gathering for the mission was a silent, furry hero, Thor, a powerful Saint Bernard known for his intelligence, sharp instincts, and a near-supernatural ability to find those in distress. Thor was no ordinary dog. Towering in size, with nearly 80 kilograms of muscle and warmth, he had been part of dozens of alpine rescue missions. But tonight, something felt different. The wind itself seemed to be whispering for help, and Thor could feel it in every bone of his body. While the humans debated routes and read maps, Thor was already moving, a rescue pack strapped to his back, filled with thermal blankets, serum, and a beacon transmitter. He pushed through the icy trails. His nose searched the air for any trace of life. He wasn't guessing. He was certain. Hours earlier, the 3 children, Lucas, 10, Helena, 9, and little Raphael, just 6, had wandered off, enchanted by the sparkling snow. Within minutes, a thick fog rolled in. When they tried to retrace their steps, they were already lost. Now huddled beneath a rocky outcrop, they trembled from the cold. Their calls for help were swallowed by the roaring wind. Helena held Raphael's hand tightly, while Lucas wrapped his coat around both of them, teeth chattering. Fear had faded into silence, the dangerous kind. Thor pressed on, driven by instinct. Among countless snow-covered paths, he followed one no human had chosen. His thick fur was crusted with ice, yet his focus never wavered. Then he stopped. Lifting his head, he sniffed sharply, then barked, loud and deep, like thunder splitting the sky. Without hesitation, he began digging furiously into the snow near a rocky ledge. Below, Lucas stirred. "It's a dog," he cried hoarsely. "I think someone's coming." Moments later, Thor's massive head appeared through the snow. His gentle eyes met the children's, who stared back in disbelief. Helena began to sob, not out of fear but overwhelming relief. Raphael smiled for the first time in hours. Thor carefully pressed his warm body against the shivering children. From his pack, Lucas retrieved a thermal blanket with trembling hands. The beacon was now active, sending a precise signal to the rescue team. Thor had done his part, but he wasn't leaving until he knew they'd be safe. Minutes later, rescuers arrived. When they found Thor shielding the 3 children with his body, some were moved to tears. It was as if he'd always known exactly where they were. Lucas was carried by one of the rescue workers, but before leaving, he turned back to Thor and whispered, eyes filled with emotion, "You saved my life. I'll never forget you." Thor simply wagged his tail and moved closer to Raphael, gently licking the boy's icy hand. The mountain still roared, but in that moment, in that little patch of snow, there was only peace. Descending the mountain was slow and deliberate. The children were weak but conscious. The storm finally began to subside, almost as if it too had finished its work. Thor walked steadily beside the group, pausing every few steps to look back and make sure they were all still there. In the village below, people waited with blankets, warm drinks, and tearful eyes. As the rescuers emerged with the children, and behind them the towering figure of Thor, the crowd fell silent, overcome with awe. A local reporter, voice shaking, summed it up in one sentence. Today, it wasn't a man who defied death. It was a dog. In the days that followed, Thor's story spread like wildfire. News outlets, television channels, and social media lit up with tales of the gentle giant who saved 3 lives with only his instincts, his heart, and his unstoppable courage. At the children's school, a special ceremony was held. Thor entered the auditorium with a blue scarf around his neck, greeted by a standing ovation. Raphael personally gave him a paper medal that read, "Our 4-legged hero." Thor, ever humble, just wagged his tail, like always. After the rescue, Thor continued to visit the children often. They saw him not just as a hero, but as family. For Thor, it was as if that snowy night had created an eternal bond. Lucas wanted to become a rescue worker. Helena wrote stories about brave dogs. Raphael slept every night holding a stuffed animal, named Little Thor. Life moved on, the mountain returned to silence, but that night was never forgotten. Years later, a stone plaque was placed at the base of the mountain trail. It read, "Here where snow tried to bury hope, a dog named Thor proved that love has a nose, courage, and strong paws." Thor, now older and with gray around his muzzle, would often pause at the spot. He'd sniff the air, eyes calm, as if remembering. Then he'd walk on. Because heroes like Thor don't disappear. They leave eternal footprints.